For those of you that don't know me, my name is Galit Ventura-Rozen, and I am a women empowerment and business mentor. And one of my favorite things to do is spotlight amazing women entrepreneurs. So I'm really excited today to have Shayla Raquel. And I'm going to read a little bit about your bio because I think it's just so wonderful. And we're going to be talking about an amazing topic today that you're going to want to tune in and listen to, self-publishing. That is the thing today to do, and you're going to want to listen and hear all the important things that Shayla's going to be sharing with us. So you are an expert editor, a seasoned writer, and an author, and a centric marketer. Oh, I love that, centric. You work one-on-one with authors and business owners every day. Your blog posts, oh, of course, I just got out of the page. Hold, please, technical difficulties. That is so funny. Isn't it fun to be live? Your blog posts have been featured on popular websites like The Book Designer and Positive Writer, and you're the author of the Pre-Publishing Checklist. And your novel is in progress, The Suicide Tree.
Yep.
I love that. So tell us a little bit more about your love of self-publishing.
Sure. So like you said, I'm an editor and writer and marketer. I work one-on-one with authors every day. Primarily, I work with self-publishing authors, especially the ones that are new to the industry, because they need a lot of hand-holding, and that's kind of my thing. I really like to teach people and show them that they can do this on their own. It sounds almost impossible to be able to publish your own book, but it's not. So I like to help them every day, and I help fiction and nonfiction authors hold their books in their hands for the first time.
I love that. And I know as someone that's writing her first book right now, and the first of many, that world just, I go, ah! So I know for myself, being an entrepreneur for over 20 years and never taking this on ever, I know myself that having to know the most important things that you should do if you're planning on self-publishing is a huge topic. And I think it'll be such a great topic for so many people that are watching that are either thinking of writing their book, have written their book, are writing their book, and go, what do I do now?
Right. Yeah. And I really try hard to show them. I mean, there's pros and cons of everything, but there are just so many awesome pros when it comes to self-publishing. Just having that creative control. If you are a control freak, self-pub is for you.
Wait a second, Shayla. Entrepreneurs are not control freaks. What are you talking about?
I'm pretty sure if you get interviewed as an entrepreneur and you say I'm not a control freak, they'll take away your entrepreneur card.
I think we spent most of our time learning how to stop being a control freak and delegating out, right? That's a whole nother conversation.
Oh, yeah.
So get us started. Get us started on these tips.
So for me, there are tons of things that you can do with self-publishing, but there are three that I know to be the most important ones. So I just want to kind of touch on them a little bit, and I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have about them. But first and foremost, please get your book edited. Let me give you a list of people who are not your editor. Not your editor. Your dad is not your editor. Your siblings are not your editor. Your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, none of those people are your editors because they can't. Man, I want somebody to rip me apart. You know what my mom is going to do? Honey, that is the greatest thing you have ever written, ever.
I love that.
Oh, I can't look at things the way that I need somebody to. So hiring a professional editor, it's going to make your book amazing. Some of the things to look out for. You want a professional editor. That doesn't really mean that you go find somebody who has the cheapest rates possible and it's the first time they've ever edited a book. You're taking a gigantic risk on that, and you're also probably going to wind up spending more money down the road when you have to have it re-edited. So make sure that they're a professional. Make sure they know their style books. As an author, you're like, I don't care about that. But you want your editor to care about that. And what I mean is that they need to follow the Chicago Manual of Style when they are editing your book. That's the industry standard. So we want to make sure they're doing that right. Stock them. Go online. Go look at the books on Amazon that they've edited. Go look on their website. Don't be afraid to ask to contact their clients. There's nothing wrong with that. Make sure that you do your due diligence. That is one of the most important things you can do. And when it comes to editing, you need to understand that sometimes it's not as simple as just a quick copy edit. Really what you might need is something more like a developmental edit or a content edit. Be okay with that. Always
Yes.
strive for excellence and be willing to listen to criticism. There are a lot of other
Loopholes.
things to look for with editing, but that's number one to do when you're self-publishing your book.
Yeah, and I would think someone that is an expert editor really knows what the reader is looking for, what the reader's not going to understand, what the reader's going to go, wait, where did that come from? It didn't flow or something's missing. I know that when I was getting my master's degree, I was editing my girlfriend's papers and they were editing mine, because you just can't do the same for yourself. And I was able to look at it from a place of, wait, I don't know that the teacher's going to understand this, because we were all in the same field. So that was something that I could do, but I'm talking maximum 5 to 10 pages. I'm not talking hundreds of pages.
Right. And there's so many things to look for. I mean, is your editor a good reader? I mean, do they read all the time? And more importantly, whatever your genre is, if you're writing a psychological thriller and the editor has only done, I don't know, like academic stuff and technical, she's not going to be able to properly edit the psychological thriller the way that it needs to. Just like I'm not able to edit academic, so I will turn it down and give it to other editors because I know what I'm good at, and that's not one of them.
So what areas do you typically edit in? Just because I'm curious before we get to the next step.
Right down the middle of nonfiction and fiction. So my authors are either half fiction, half nonfiction. So I do, on the nonfiction side, I do a lot of memoirs, self-help, and business books. Then, and also Christian. And then on the other spectrum with fiction, I do a lot of, oh goodness, historical fiction, romance, thrillers, mystery, all sorts of things. But I know, okay, I can't edit a Western, so I'll turn that down because that's out of my league.
Yeah, you would have to almost know about Western history if you were going to edit a Western.
You have to know these things, and you need to, don't try to force the editor to do something she's not comfortable doing. Like, it's okay if she can't edit that genre, go find somebody else. But don't be surprised if you hired somebody to edit it in your genre who's never done it before, and you're sitting there going, how did she miss all of this? Well,
because she didn't, or he, they don't have the information. You almost have to know the facts as well, or know what people are looking for. Oh, that's great advice. I love that. So what would be the second thing?
Number 2, design.
Okay.
I know that some of you guys own Photoshop, but it doesn't mean that you're a graphic design artist. I cannot tell you how many abominations I have seen with book covers where it's like this Comic Sans papyrus unison, and it's just the biggest mess ever. Your greatest marketing tool, I'm talking like top 3 greatest marketing tools, your book cover. That's it. That is one of the biggest selling factors, because we do judge a book by its cover. That's exactly what we do.
I love that.
So graphic design. And by the way, when you're looking for your graphic design artist, if you just know zero about design, you need to, if you find 3 designers, go suggest that a few of your friends, people who are in this industry, some professionals, take a look at the portfolios so they can say, oh yeah, this person totally knows what they're doing. Or, ooh, let me suggest somebody else for you. Also, make sure that you retain all the rights. We have run into some interesting things where the graphic design artist will say, yes, this is good for ebook. You can use this graphic for ebook. You're good to go. And then they find out later, oh, you're not allowed to print that. Sorry. And that has happened. So make sure that you retain all rights, that everything looks good on paper. And also, most importantly, your graphic design artist should know the psychology of the genre. Okay? You don't go hire a nonfiction graphic design artist to go do fiction, and vice versa. Because it is a specific psychology. You have to understand that genre so that it comes through in the design. So watch for those things.
That sounds, and it's so easy today with internet, with reviews. There are companies online that I don't even think to buy from them until I type in the name of the company and reviews, or the name of the company and whatever. So today it's so easy. And I myself have had clients say to me, Hey, Galit, can I speak to some of your current and past clients? There's nothing wrong with that. I love that you said that. And then the graphics part, I'm completely agreeing with you, especially someone that has no artistic ability whatsoever in graphics. I'm good with my words, not with my pictures.
Yeah.
So I myself am very aware of that. And you're absolutely right. Even today in the digital world, you look at the cover, and if it doesn't pull you in, you don't even bother looking at the book.
And you can, I mean, you don't have to be a professional in this industry to smell a homemade amateur cover. If you just read in that genre all the time, you're going to say, ooh, they made that cover. A lot of times what happens is the author will make his own cover, or maybe they'll hire somebody, but it'll be really cheap. It'll be like $50 to do the whole cover, and you always get what you pay for. So remember that this is one of your best marketing tools, and you should always strive to provide your best because your readers deserve that.
So I think that piece before we go to the next tip is so important when you said you get what you pay for, because I want to really put it out there that especially if this is your first book, because for a lot of people, it's going to be their first book. And this is almost like a business card, and it's bigger than a business card. We don't even use business cards as much as we used to. So anytime somebody Googles you, anybody looks you up, your book is going to come up. And if that's the impression you want to make and spend $50 on a graphics for your front cover, think to yourself how long that book follows you around. Your books never go away. I know authors that have 20 books in the last 20 years. Their book from 20 years ago is still on Google. So definitely think of this as an investment in your business. A lot of people know and recognize that you don't make a lot of money from writing your book in our business, in the self-help business, but you make the money from the credibility that the book gives you.
That's my favorite word when we're talking about self-publishing, credibility.
Oh, yes.
I mean, in anyone at all, but especially as a business person, you have a reputation to uphold. When you go put out something that's low quality, it is a nightmare to make it all disappear, because it doesn't disappear. And then you wind up spending more money in the long run to go fix it all.
Yeah, and I can't imagine. To me, that's going to be so important, my book cover. And I have no idea what it's going to look like yet. I'm leaving that for later, but it just seems like the most important piece, so people can look at that cover and say, I really want to learn more about this.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And we both know, because you're an author as well, that it is a labor of love to get that book written. Some people, it takes years and years. Yes. So why would you cheapen it? And I know I can see you shaking your head
all the time
because you're in that world.
Yes, they do, and it boggles my mind. Like, I spent 10 years writing this, and then I made my own cover and I edited my own book. I'm like, oh, well, that's really sad, because everybody can tell, So you always strive to provide your best.
Good. And what's our third tip?
Number 3, marketing. I see this all the time. I hear it all the time, is the following phrase. I launched my book today. Can anybody give me some ideas on how to market it? No. Your marketing starts way before you publish the book. I would say at a bare minimum, I'm talking minimum here, you would be marketing it 3 months before launch. Okay. I would prefer that you marketed it. I mean, the day you start writing it, you're telling people, I'm writing a book. I send it to my editor. I'm sending it to beta readers. That's all marketing. It's all telling people what's going on with my book. Marketing, the second thing I just want to get across, a lot of people want to live in a world that no longer exists. They want to spend their money on newspapers and radio and a lot of things that I'm not saying don't necessarily work in some aspects, especially if community is important to you. But when they spend their whole marketing budget on things that they shouldn't be, that's going to be a huge problem. Where they need to be focusing on their author brand online. That's where we live now. That's why we're doing this webinar. That's where we live. So that means email newsletter, a great website. That means getting involved in blogging or vlogging or something to get your message across. It means, I know this sounds scary, but being on social media. It creates a huge fan base, what I like to call book ambassadors, loyal readers who fangirl over your book and tell the world about it. You have this amazing thing at your disposal, the internet, and you can use it to your advantage for marketing your book. There are tons of other things you can do to market your book that I go over, like book bloggers and all sorts of awesome things. So one of the biggest, most important things to do is to market your book way before it ever releases. And then you keep marketing your book every day afterward. It's the long run. Unfortunately, you can't just hit publish on Amazon KDP and then everybody comes running to you.
No.
That's not how it works. It takes hard work.
Because there's so many out there. It's not that everyone's waiting just for your book. So you have to have that gathering, that following, that credibility, yes, that visibility. I completely agree with you. It's such an important part.
It is.
To look at your world right now, even before you start writing that book, and go, who's going to want to read this? Who believes that I'm this kind of person that would read this and say, oh, she really is the expert in this area. And again, I'm talking business books and stuff like that, but we're not talking fiction right now. But I think that piece would be it. Right.
And one of the biggest myths is my book is for everybody. Everybody can read this book. No, it's not. It's for a tiny little group of people, and you better make sure everybody in that group knows who you are, because once you have marketed to them, once you have engaged with them and you've created this bond, this relationship with those people, they're going to have a whole bunch of converts is what's going to happen, because then they're going to go tell all their friends who've never heard of you. And
we know that share button on Facebook, and I'm not just talking about Facebook. We can do Facebook. We can do all the different social medias. Right. That share button is huge. When you get people that are telling people that they should buy this book, there's nothing more powerful than that. Right. So when you talk about self-publishing and you talk about marketing yourself prior and all of that, where do you come in? Where do you come in with your clients? When are you thrown into the process and you get hired?
Yeah, it depends on a lot of factors. A lot of times if I'm editing the book, so we're talking about, I mean, honestly, I would say probably, we'll just say 6 months before launch, okay? So maybe 6 to 9 months before release date. If I'm editing the book for them and they also know that I do marketing and book launching, chances are they might hire me to do some aspect. It might be, I want you to sit down with me for 1 month and do your marketing plan, where you coach me every day for a week and create a marketing book launch plan for me. It might be like what I did this week with Kim Fredrickson, author of Give Your Kids a Break. I've been working with her for the last 2.5 months to launch her book. So it just kind of depends on what they started out doing with me in the first place. But if I've edited for them, a lot of times they'll want me to launch the book. So there's a lot of time there for me to get to know them, get to know the book, get to know their needs, get an idea of their platform, tribe, community, whatever word you're most comfortable with, and then help them actually have realistic goals. It's really fun to say, I'm going to sell 1,000 books on launch day. Of course, I've never been on Facebook. I don't have an email newsletter, and my website is broken. But I'm going to sell 1,000 books. So you have to have these realistic goals. So when they come to me, a lot of times they want me to orchestrate the whole launch, which I only take on a few of those a year, because I am all
That's a lot of work. I am sure that's a lot of work. Wow.
Yes.
Wow, that's wonderful. So tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
Absolutely. There are a few different ways, because I'm kind of everywhere. One of the easiest ways is to go to shaylaraquel.com/contact. You can fill out all sorts of stuff in that form and tell me all about you and how I can help you. That's the first thing you can do. The second thing is, if you don't want to fill out a form, you can just email me at shayla@curiouserediting.com. And then another way is, if you want to shoot me a message on Facebook Messenger, you can like my page, Shayla Raquel. It's really easy to find.
Beautiful. Thank you, Shayla. Those are all such wonderful, wonderful tips. And I think they're so practical and so logical. And as any other business decision that you're making in your business, you want to look at this as a business decision as well.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of times what I see as a business mentor is that people don't recognize that, excuse my language, but when you half-ass things, it doesn't actually work to your favor. So look at this as an entrepreneur, not as an employee. I talk about that a lot in my business. Get out of the employee mindset. What's the cheapest, quickest way to do something? An entrepreneur always thinks of the long-term goals,
Yes.
the
long run, always.
long-term plans. So thank you so much, Shayla. I'm excited myself because I'm talking to Shayla about potentially working with her when I'm ready, and I'm almost there. And I look forward to learning a little bit more about the way that she works with her clients as well. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much. It was really fun getting to talk about one of my favorite topics in the whole world, and I'm really glad that I got to share a little bit about it. So if anybody has questions, I am so easy to talk to. Just shoot me a message and I'll answer your question.
Thank you, Shayla.
All right, thank you.